worship in different ways. But then when we are home, we take off our mask and we are the exact opposite of who we portray ourselves to be in the place of worship or even in our places of work. How many of us, can relate to that? In your place of work, because there are rules, if you misbehave, you can get fired or you will not get promoted. But in the place at home, it's like, okay, I don't need to pretend. I can just relax and be myself at home. But what that looks like is all the stress that we have accumulated during the day, we release it at home because we are the lords of the manor. We are ourselves at home. Well, that is just by the way. We are looking at our mental health and we're looking at the different aspects that can affect our mental health. Okay. So I am Funmi Oni. I'm a certified personal performance coach and a relationship counselor. I'm a therapist. I'm a mental health practitioner here in the UK. My work experience is in personal performance, helping people to achieve their desired goals, their dreams. And I also specialize in the area of self-esteem and low confidence. So people who have had possibly long-term illness, people who have had, recurrent failures in their lives and they're struggling, I support people to, move from where they are based on whatever the past may be to a desired future. Now, I'm also interested in marriage because I believe that marriage is an institution and it's the bedrock of every nation, not just a family. Every nation. I believe that the home front, if the home front is properly, if it's functioning well, then it would relate in how the children that come from those homes behave in the society. So I'm really keen on working with young couples, people who are already married, and those who are interested in that institution called marriage. Now, I am a member of the British Association of Psychotherapists and Counsellors here in the UK. I'm also a member of the Institute of Chartered Coach in the US. Well, it's a worldwide organization. Now, I'm trained by the Gottman Institute, which is based in the US. And I'm currently doing another program in mental health and psychology. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. I'm married for 15 years with 2 sons, by the grace of God. What is your relationship like with your devices? That is $1 million question. What is your relationship like with your devices? Your laptops, your smartphones, and whatever gadget that you have, your TV, what's your relationship like with that? And you will understand why I'm asking that question later on. Addiction. What does addiction mean? I'd like you to please pop in the chat what you think the word addiction means before we go into that. Before I explain my definition. What does addiction mean to you? What does addiction mean to you? I'll give you 30 seconds to just whatever comes to your mind. There's no right or wrong answer with addiction. What does it mean? Please pop it in the chat for us. What does addiction mean to you? Addiction, what does it mean? Okay, I've got a couple of answers. Addiction, being hung on something. Thank you very much. Being hung on something, yes. When you can't do without something, absolutely, yes. Doing something way too much. In fact, I'm just loving these responses and it's just so free. Something someone can't do without, yes. Something, and if you can see that. Can we please mute our phones, please? Can we mute our devices? Thank you very much. Something that you cannot do without, that is addiction. Addiction is being obsessed with something, being obsessed. And, from the trend of your answers, I think there is something that is quite common with what you all have responded to, and that is control. Control. It means there was a time you had control over, and then you've lost that control, and you then realize you cannot do without it. Yes, so that is addiction. So the fact or condition of being addicted to a particular substance or activity. So it's not necessarily always substance, because when we talk about addiction, for some people, what comes to your mind is drug, someone who is using drugs, heroin, and all the likes. But activities, we can be addicted to activities as well. And there's a whole range of different activities that we can be addicted to. We can be addicted to our work, we can be addicted to work. Some people are addicted to their work. So I have a couple of definitions here, which you guys have actually done a better job than I have here. The web Merriam-Webster, which is an online dictionary, says a strong inclination to use or indulge in something repeatedly, characterized by a loss of control, taking or using something to the point where it's harmful. So what substance may be helpful, may be useful, but when you use it overly, it can then become very, very harmful to you. So that is addiction. That is addiction. What causes addiction? What causes addiction? Remember that we can be addicted to work. We can be addicted to the internet. Our focus today is the internet. We can be addicted to shopping. Some people can be addicted to shopping, some drugs, alcohol, gambling, and the likes. But what are the causes? What are the causes of addiction? So we have biological cause, and I'll explain that a little bit more. Adverse childhood experience is called ACEs. Environmental exposure can also cause addiction. Now, these three causes here are not, we're not limited to these three, but just for the course of today's teaching, I'm just going to focus on these three causes. There are a whole lot range of different things. Now, biological contributes to addiction in ways beyond the genes, because when we talk about biological causes, we think about genes is transferred from parent to child. How our body metabolizes or breaks down food or substance can also eliminate or create the potential of us, being addicted to certain things. And that's why you may find that some people may take a glass of wine, for example, and they're absolutely okay. Another person will take that same glass of wine and the body will start responding in an adverse way. So it's that body's person's metabolism may not be able to break down the level of alcohol in the body as much as somebody else. And that's why it's really not right for us to compare ourselves with somebody else, and some people's body's enzymes, we all have enzymes in our body. So the presence of certain enzymes in our bodies can also help with the breaking down of food, or substances that we take in. Now, it's said that Japanese people from Japan, the enzymes in their body cannot tolerate certain types of food. So they react or respond adversely. And they are the only set of people who can't respond to certain types of food, unlike the other part of the world. And that's just an example. Now, if you have any questions as I'm going through, feel free to ask me the questions. Adverse childhood experience is something that a lot of people can relate to as a cause of addiction. Some people have, grew up in households where there's a whole lot of violence, turmoil, problems, issues, and the only way that child can, as they grow up later on in life, cope with the trauma of those experiences is by taking substance to help them relieve those stress. Unfortunately, what you will find, especially here in the UK, that children from low-income households and who are minority do face a lot of issues in their lives, and so they resort to use a substance. So there's a high rate of substance use in those households, in those geographical areas, because of adverse growth, because of poverty, because of parenting, and it then reoccurs, and it becomes an issue for them later on in life. And for some people, it's environmental exposure. Environmental exposure, what does that look like? Your job, stress in the workplace. Some people find it really, really difficult. Now, in my work, I'm exposed to so many people. I recently worked with a lady who had to rely on drugs because of the demands of her job. And it's backfired now, because you can only use substance up to a certain level. Before you know it, your body then begins to reject those substances, or you do not you cannot, you don't get the level of satisfaction from those drugs. So you have to keep increasing the amount, increase it until, sorry, one second, just 1 minute. Apologies for that. Yeah, so I was talking about environmental exposure. We can be exposed to different things in our environment that can create that desire or need to rely on substance or different activities. Now, remember I said that work can become, we can rely on work, or we can become addicted to our work. Now, somebody whose family, who is having issues in his home or her home, in their relationship, may tend to spend longer time at the place of work to be able to, ease off the stress, or even to avoid the stress. So they just go in and they just in their workspace from hours. I've had someone that I work with, a couple that I work with, that unfortunately the marriage was on the brink of breaking up because the husband was constantly spending time in the office, spend hours on end in the office. And no matter what the wife says, he did not understand. He did not understand that his work had taken priority in his life, and that is not a good place to be in. The need to please because you are in need of money. You constantly working, and you make your work a priority. And for some people, it's socials. They just have to go out. They just have to go out with their mates. They just have to go out. Anybody's doing one occasion or the other, they have to be there. It can be an addiction, unfortunately, because you're deriving pleasure, a level of satisfaction from it. You have little or no control over your activities. So you just keep going, you keep going. And for some people, it's shopping. It doesn't matter whether you have the money or you don't have the money. We call it window shopping. Some people would borrow money to buy things that they necessarily need, but they've convinced themselves that they need it. It's become a habit. It's a habit that they've developed over time, and they've not been able to curb those habits, and it's then become an addiction. Some people will go without food. You go without food because you feel you need to have a social, you need to look or present yourself in certain ways, and makes people believe that you are what you are not. It's an addiction, unfortunately. It's an addiction. All right. So we're looking at internet addiction today. Internet addiction. Now, may I ask, if you have checked your phone today to 5 times, can you put it in the chat box? I'm not saying you're addicted. I'm just asking a general question. If you have checked your phone at least up to 5 times, it's 12, half 12 now. Yeah. If you check your phone up to 5 times, can you just put in the chat now that yes, I have up to 5 times or more? Let's hear from you guys. And apologies, I use the word guys a lot. So I do not mean to offend anybody. But if you have checked your phone at least 5 times today, may I see your response in the chat? Thank you for being very, very honest. Thank you. Thank you. Somebody said I live on my phone. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. I think I may have as well. I think I have checked my phone because Joy kept sending me messages as well. I'm just kidding, but this is internet addiction that we are looking at today. How would you know that I am addicted to my device? Now, when you hear the word internet addiction or device addiction, for those of us who have kids, if you have kids, we know how children are with their devices. And sometimes we complain. Somebody said more than 20 times. Thank you very much. We complain, we say, oh, our kids, these children these days, they spend so much time on their devices. These are our kids. But then I think we should just take a mirror and have a look at ourselves. What's our own interaction like with our devices? What are the things that we do with our devices? Let me make you laugh. Now, my hair stylist, my hairdresser, I have a couple, but the one who normally makes my plaits, I went to make her hair one day, and I realized that as she's making one plait, she would check her phone. She would cut the line and then, take the extension and then check her phone. So I'm thinking to myself, is she expecting something? Is because the phone is neither ringing nor buzzing, so there's no nothing. But she would check this phone. So I'm thinking, oh, maybe she's. So I didn't say anything, but I was beginning to feel irritated. And on me, I'm very, very time conscious. Whenever I am going somewhere, I'm doing something, I've mapped out my time. I don't make hair that would take longer than 2.5 hours max. And my stylist, my hairdressers, they know I'm coming in 2 hours, I'm out. Whatever style you're doing for me, I have to just come out. So she was checking, so I was wondering, I hope all is well. And then I started feeling irritated. Please make my hair stop this phone thing. But I didn't see anything. And then another time I went back again and the same thing. And I realized that, oops, this woman is addicted to her phone. So I had to tell her, I said, sis, I think your phone, I think you're getting too used to this phone. You're using your phone to, she said, oh, and she started laughing. For heaven's sake, you're making hair. One line, check phone. In fact, in between, check phone. That is just way overboard. And it's funny, but it's irritating. It wastes these are some of the symptoms. It wastes time. It's definitely waste time. We check, we're constantly going on our devices and checking, no prompt. For some of us, we sleep with our phones. The phone is just next beside us. You wake up in the middle of the night, if you're like me, for a bathroom break. You come back, your phone.
Bluetooth mode.
The sun causes back pain, increased stress, anxiety and depression, and I'll explain some of these as we go on. Reduce human contact. You're constantly on your phone. We have reduced human contact. The things that you should visit somebody to do, we do it on the phone. Sometimes you are having dinner together, you're on your phone. I'll tell you another story. Please mute your phones. Please mute your devices. If you're just joining us, kindly mute your devices. Thank you.
Kindly
Yes.
make Auntie Turayo co-host so that she can support you to help milk this our parents.
Oh, okay.
Auntie Turayo, the one that's assistant, please make her co-host. Sorry
okay,
about
that. No problem. Okay, because it's a little bit.
If you can, that's fine. Don't worry, ma. If you can.
Yeah, it's because I'm sharing my screen, so it
All
might.
right. That's fine.
Looking a little bit. Okay. All right. Oh, okay. I can now. 1 second.
You've done that. Thank you, ma.
Sorry about that. Okay. Where was I? So I was going to share with you. I've made her a co-host, I believe. I was with someone. We went to visit a woman who lost her child. And we would, we will go and console this woman. And on this particular day, the room was full of people. Not like let's say about 10 people minimum were sat in different spaces in the room. But guess what? Almost everyone were on their devices. Thinking about it still upsets me that we were present, but not present. We were all together, but we were not present. People were just scrolling on their devices. And that tells us how these things have come in and invaded our lives so much. So much. I don't know, that made me feel a bit emotional. Just remembering that scene. I just hope it would help us to, think about our actions and our behaviors. Problems with our vision, because we constantly on our screens, maybe your laptop like we are now, or your phones, it has a long-term effect on our vision. And this is important, our focus. For some people, they would realize that they're becoming more forgetful. You've run downstairs or you've gone to one room to pick up something, and suddenly you're thinking, why am I here? Has that happened to anybody? Why am I in this room? And you would wait for a few seconds before the penny would drop. Oops, I came to pick up something. If you realize that your concentration is reducing, you're focusing, or you're becoming forgetful, it may be, I'm not saying it is for certain, but it may be because, we are constantly using something. And then radiation, which is a health hazard, and the risk of having other forms of illnesses. So internet addiction is not just, messaging, video games, cyber sex, online gambling are examples of some. But what these things are, the things that we stroll for, they are full of attention-grabbing information, but guess what? Very low quality in terms of information. Those things that we read, that we scroll for, does not add value to us. We may feel, oh, we found out something, but what use is that information to you about one celebrity or somebody that's somewhere, you know, you can have a conversation about it, but has it really added any value to you as a person? Maybe not, but it's taking something away from you. What is it taking away? Value time that could be used more productively doing something else. Even if it's just resting and relaxing your brain and just sitting down, and it adds value to you. It adds value to you than just scrolling. The Kardashians today. I'm sorry, I'm not so advanced in the Nigerian society, but there's just so much noise, but no substance. All right. Here's some of the questions I think I would like us to think about. Oh, thank you so much. Somebody said you're right. It causes loss of situational awareness. Most times it results in, it does. It does. Thank you so much for agreeing with me. So has your internet become a compulsion that you just, let me just check in case I missed something, in case somebody just called me, in case I missed a message, in case, what was our lives like before the emergence of smartphones? What was our life like? What was our really, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that it's not helpful. It's, yes, there's a lot of good things that have come from the use of the internet, surfing, but we just need to just check ourselves every now and then. For young children, now, if you have children, it's important to know that the constant use, and I are seeing this happen over and over again, it is very harmful to the developing brain. Now, there are a lot of research and study out there that we don't have a conclusive evidence yet, but from the things that I have observed, even within my own family circle, my extended family circle, I'm talking about kids, cousins, children, and all of that, and even some social networks. When you have a little baby and you are giving them your devices, keep them occupied, yes. So that child can be there for an hour and you can do your own thing and you're not worried that they're going to be, doing things that they shouldn't be doing. Or even in the place of worship, some people give their children the phone so that they can focus on worshiping God. And as if to say God is not interested in that child learning how to worship. It's a mistake a lot of us do make. Let your children learn how to do what you do. They learn by observing, but when you clog their brains with a device, and then by the time they are of that age, when they should understand faith for themselves, they don't. Why? Because they haven't been involved from the onset. That's just by the way. It's harmful. A lot of children have ADHD now, ADHD, attention span deficit. It's attention span the deficit disorder. A lot of kids have that because they have not learned, the cognitive part of the brain has not developed. A lot of them are not developing the social skills that they need from a little age because they are constantly, using these fast moving screens. So if anything is not fast, bright, the attention cannot hold that scene for too long. It has to be fast paced, like the things they watch on the screen. And that is not real life. So they get distracted easily. And that's for children. That's for children. How about our relationships? I was watching a TED Talk a few days ago, and a lady was talking about technology. And she showed a picture of her daughter and two of her friends in a room. And they were together in the room, but on their devices. They were together, but not together. It causes increased isolation and loneliness over time. It encourages miscommunication. How? Rather than having a conversation with your partner because you've had an issue, or your friend or your colleague, you resort to sending a text because you do not want to have a conflict. You want to avoid conflict. But then you send the message, the person reads the message and totally misunderstands, the concept, the thought behind the message. And guess what? It creates even more problem. But you're not there, so you don't understand what they read, perception. And then you see them and you're thinking, oh, but I sent a message, but the message was misconstrued, but was not understood in the way you wanted to. But if you had a face-to-face conversation, then you are able to iron things out appropriately. But using devices, sending emails when you should have a proper conversation because you're trying to avoid, it causes a bigger problem in the long run. And the only way we can learn how to have conversations is when we do have conversations. And if inadvertently, it reduces the quality of our relationships. Unfortunately, in this day and age, you have married couple, the guy is in a room playing game, the lady is there chatting with her mates. I'm not saying having game rooms is a bad thing, but how do we apply control? Because addiction does not happen overnight. It creeps in gradually. And when it gets to a space of addiction, it becomes a disease that cannot be solved by strong willpower. It would require help. Addiction happens gradually. It just creeps in. I was talking to you about kids. So what I observe with kids, I observe a number of parents giving devices, and then my natural self, and if you know me, if I see anything wrong, I will find a way to tell you. That's who I am. But I tried to intervene a few times, and after a while you think, for me, you do not know it all, and I do not know it all. So maybe the parent is right. But unfortunately, these three parents in different locations have a similar problem with their children. Now that the children they're now of school age going to school, these children struggle to settle in school. They struggle to sit and listen. They struggle to follow instructions because they have not developed their social skills, which they should have, because time they could have been developing those skills. Parents felt, let me parent the easier way for me. Let me give them device so that I can do. But you should be parenting your children, not the devices. If you've got any questions, please let me know. Let me know if you have any questions, or if whatever I'm saying resonates, if it makes sense, or if it doesn't, of course, please do let me know as well. So I'm talking about smartphones, and I asked that question, how many of us check? So how about ghosting? This is another interesting one, ghosting. You've sent somebody a message and you expect them to respond, and they have not responded in 5 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour. What happens? Your mind begins to give you different reasons why you feel they are not responding to you. Your mind tells you, feeds you with negative things. Oh, they must be ignoring. I'm sure they've seen their phone. They just choose not to respond to me. They don't prioritize me. They think I'm not important. Sorts of things. And that affects how you are. Let's be mindful, because the things we see feeds our minds. It's psychological. And what feeds our mind will prompt our behavior, right? So we feed our minds with information, whether we see, we hear, it goes into the mind, we ruminate on it, and it shows up in how we behave. Do you check your phone every time you have a notification? Or are you always on your phone in social spaces? So those are the questions. And I think I've responded, we've talked about that. It's just to remind ourselves. Yeah. Okay. Somebody said it's parental failure, letting children have their way. Yes. Unfortunately, I always say something, and I think I may have said it in one of these forums. This day and age, we are living in the microwave age, where you put things in the oven and you just want your responses now. Forgetting that same meal, when you cook it in the oven, it may take an hour and a half. But the package on your food says put it in the microwave for 2 minutes. 2 minutes, we can't wait. We constantly, and that's how we're parenting as well. You want your child to grow up to be this respectful, well-mannered person without putting in the work. Some people even put in the work, they don't get the result that they want. So how much more you left, Google to be the father, mother of your child. Okay. So if any of what we've shared today resonates with you, we do need to have a digital detox. We need to have a digital detox. Can you please share with me how you feel one can detox? Any idea? How can we detox? What you're sharing can help somebody. To what extent someone begins to be addicted? To what extent does someone begin to be addicted with phone while in school? So this is a question, I believe. How can we? It's observation. Now, if you have something happened to me, I realized that because I'm always working, I'm a therapist. I work I wouldn't say around the clock. I don't work in the night, but hold on 1 second. 1 second, please. I did not realize I did not plug my battery. Apologies. Yeah, charged. I'm going on the road, I'm driving, and I'm like, oh, I need to check my phone. Those are thoughts. We need to be mindful of our thoughts. We need to be mindful of our action. And you may want to have an accountability partner, somebody that can help you. Not go into the bedroom with your mobile phone. Thank you very much. Not go into the bedroom with your mobile phone. If that's possible, I had a client who lived in a one-room apartment. Her room is where her workstation is, but there are ways around it. If you have to put your phone at the far corner, if you're using a room, put it in the far corner of the room. Any other responses? Any other response? How can we detox? How can we detox? Oops. How can we detox? Any other response? We can have temporal abstinence, from our devices. The world will not come to an end if you don't switch on your device in the morning. It may be hard, but it's something that you need to do. We have control. We have control. The technology has its positive sides like everything else. I wouldn't say because, I don't like cars, I won't go on the road, I won't travel. I won't say because I want to watch my weight, for example, I'm not going to eat. But what I need to do is measure, control myself, quantity, quality. It's the same thing with our devices. Yes, deliberately go offline for hours. Just switch your phone off, switch your gadget off. And if you are working from home, have set time, create boundaries around your working time so that your children can see that if you have children. My work ends at 7 o'clock. I need to catch up by 7:30. I close my laptop. My husband used to work, he works a lot, or even up to now. But one of the things he started doing is when he's coming downstairs from his office, he works from home. Before, he used to come downstairs with his laptop. So we're all together, just like I said, but he's on his laptop working until the kids are making comment. Oh, you're always you don't know how to rest. You don't know how to do. So what does he do now? He comes down, he leaves his phone, even his phone. He leaves his phone, he leaves his laptop in the room, in his office before coming downstairs. And people will respect you for that. If you tell yourself on my phone, I have a no busy thing that I set up my phone. So from 10:30, if you send me a message, I won't see it, I won't hear it. I'll see it the next day. And you will learn to respect me for that. That Funmi won't check her phone until. All right. I'm wrapping up now. Any question for me today? Any question? Any addition? Let me know. Any question? Any question? Any addition? Before you go, any question for me? Anything? Any question? So today we've talked about devices. We've talked about addiction, excessive use of devices, excessive use of the internet is our topic today. Excessive use of, is there anything like excessive use of the internet? Yes, the answer is yes. In my opinion, there is. But like everything, we have control. We can control ourselves. We shouldn't allow ourselves to be sucked in. We shouldn't allow ourselves to be sucked in to the extent that we become addicted to it, that we have no control over it. Yes. Sister Joy, I think, I have a couple of comments here, and I always have a mindset that important message might pop in. How do I cope that? What if you don't have the device? What would happen? Because that's the excuse we give ourselves. And I have as well. I just feel, in case I miss, and because I am self-employed, clients reach out to me on my devices. What if I missed a potential client? But oftentimes, they can wait. They can wait. So we can't miss. I don't think it's us giving ourselves excuses. If you have children that are not in the country or not around you, sometimes you would, yes, Like yesterday, my son had an emergency yesterday. He sent me a message. I didn't see his message until he called. I needed to come and pick him up, you know. But if it hadn't been able to reach me, he would have been able to reach his dad, or he would have been able to reach somebody else. And then we trust God. And it's for our own sanity, it's for our own peace of mind. Yeah, it's for our own sanity that we do that. Learn how to cope and deal. Okay. I hope I've been able to answer your questions. GCCMI, I think I'm wrapping up. Sister Joy, if you're still there.
Yeah, I'm here, ma. Yeah.
Any question?
Yeah. So I don't have any yet. I know this course is just what we need at this point in time. I expected so many parents to connect. That's why we made it free. But unfortunately, we'll say thank you to our parents who has connected. And most importantly, we need to apply this to our children because, yeah, like our mommy said, we have some children are just are addicted to device, and his parent gave them those things to use. I used to have an auntie supposed to be here now. I didn't see her. So our baby has started using the device from 3 months, honestly. And I've been correcting her. She said because she has her own life to live. So she keep giving that little baby iPad every time just to, from morning. Every time I'm there, I'm always saying this is very, very, it's not fair, and it's going to affect. It's not like I'm cursing, but it's just what it is. So it's going to affect that child, especially is our brain formation. And this is all this problem we cause ourselves. So this courses like this will expose us, will help us to remember. We are aware of all these things anyway, but it is a reminder, for our parents to be really intentional about this. So yeah, thank you, Ma, for blessing us. And even myself, I need to be more, because like I said, I live on phone. I have like over 5 devices around me. I wake up, 2 laptops, it's just bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm guilty. So all these things, so it's really an high of now.
And one thing I actually forgot to mention is, anxiety. This is Mental Health Week this in England this week, where the focus is on anxiety. Device as well is also a cause of anxiety. It does create anxiety. Can you imagine if you've forgotten your phone or one of your devices and you have probably gone far from your house? How would you feel? Like a part of you is missing.
It happens to me that I think I lost it. Well, thank God it's but it was shouting blood, or everybody in that environment know that something is wrong with this lady. It's like I want to run mad when the device got lost. So I can read what you're saying. So it's like all my life has gone. I can't even imagine if this hacker, they start, get hold of my phone, they will because my parents, most of my parents trust me. So when people are sending their message with my line, that's why I can't fall victim of hacker. It's just going to be very dangerous. The destruction will be so high because people will believe when I'm sending it's from my number. So all those things setting. So anxiety, fear, yeah, Ma, you are very right. And this is what we face every day of our lives. So, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay.
So, is there any question? I want our mommy to talk. Mommy Hazy, mommy from Worry, Odure. I can see mommy testimony. Thank you, Mama. Yeah, mommy, Afolabi Ojotan. So, mommy, thank you, Lord. I know that's one of our mommy. Any comment? Just to share your own, experience. Your own, just tell us you are not doing wrong, all right with with phone and how you are going forward. We want to talk. Now I'm going to call names.
Do you want to?
Thank you so much for this section. I really enjoyed it. Though I joined late, but it's just, sorry, Miss Honey, it's just as if you're speaking to me, directly, as if you know what is happening in my home. I had to go and call my son. Okay, can I have the iPad right now? I collected the 2 iPads from them just now. I said enough of the watching. Can I have it? And they brought it, Anyway, the part of the world that we had, the part of the country that we had, where there's the kids, they have no friends, no one to mingle with. It's just me and the kids. So at times, even in the sitting room, you see everywhere the toys. They get to a stage they'll be so tired of it. I have no option than to let them, okay, watch something, use the iPad. Okay, right now I collected the iPad and I said, okay, go and play music on the TV. Perhaps tomorrow again, I will give it to them, you know? In this case, and you see the first child is a little bit matured. Sometimes you can even a week without device. But for the second one, oh my God, I don't know how to go about it. A day without iPad or phone, it's just as if something is missing inside of him. So I'm just praying that God should help me with all these teachings that I had now. God should help me in a way to manage it. Thank you so
Amen.
much.
No, thank you so much, Ma. Thank you for being open and honest. Thank you so much. And I just pray that, like you said, God would help you. I've got two of my own, and children are very different. Children are very different. I've got one who just enjoys reading, and the other one likes creating things and building. But like you said, if they don't have friends and you have to work, one thing that we try to do, we go for walks. I try to sit down with them and just have a conversation, get them to come in. So I've got two boys. But what I do now, I've got a teenager, my older one, and the younger one will be joining him in high school this year by God's grace. What I do is when I'm cooking, come here, I need you to help me. I don't say come and cook because it's like giving them a task. But if I say, I need your help, come and help me here. They're like, oh, okay, they want to help me. So they come and they cook. But I don't call the two of them together, otherwise it'll be chaos. You help me today. The next day or 2 days after, I need you to come and help me do this today. Come and help me do that. And they get bored easily, don't they? Sometimes they get bored. Sit down and watch things together. It's important that we know what they are watching as well. Whatever it is, what games they are playing, what are they doing? Do it with them. See what they are doing. And now when I say, oh, it's time for us to have a screen break, they understand what that means. It doesn't mean mom doesn't want me to play on my device, but I've taken time to explain to them why they need to have screen breaks. So depending on the age of your children and the level at which they can understand, it's having those communications with them, getting them to understand why you want them to do what they're doing and why you don't want them to do what they want to do. Yes, you have a question.
No, but it's just a contribution, from, sorry, I should have waited for you to finish. So what I was just trying to add is parents should incorporate this crafting, I don't know what they call it, this artwork for children, like knitting, just to take them off the screen. They should be watching the screen anyway, which is fine because it's good for them, to watch some of their cartoons and all those stuff, which our parents are supposed to have. They need to be vetting these things because some of them cartoon, they portray gay, those things that we don't want our children, to learn. So but the most important is the heart, is the craft, like our parents need to be very creative in terms of helping our children, to go off screen, because if you're taking screen away from there, you need to engage them with something. You have to replace with something. Yeah. And there are lots of activities out there. I have some that I've shared with parents in the past that I can share again with them. So they can use a scientific method as well. If our children can knit, they can knit their socks, they can knit their, jackets, something like that will help them. There's some drawing, there's some builder, they can build, they can use jigsaw, just to build. So that is really going to help them, and it's going to take their time. And if you give them, parents, with incentive, with target, that if you're able to build this thing, this is what we are going to the park. It could be as simple as that we go to the park tomorrow, children look forward to this. So this is going to be very helpful for parents who children are just maybe 3 years old, 4 years, 5. But those that already spoiled the children with the device, it's going to be on hard work. They need to know that behind the because I don't occasion whereby parents we need to leave the session. I'm sorry, I'm very passionate about this topic. They will start eating my kids, you know, my lovelies, you know, start saying you can't use this and start beating. No, beat is not, that's not allowed in GCMI. So parents, we need to start, we know some of us, we've gone wrong with this, so we need to stylishly and intentionally help them, you know, to navigate away from the screen. And it starts with us as well, because if you are saying don't use the screen and you are always on the phone, like I said myself, I'm guilty, you know, where we press phone throughout the night, in the middle of the night, you know, I sleep on my laptop, you'll be so shocked. My bed right there, if I take the picture, you will close your eyes. 5 devices. I don't know how I get here, but I find myself in the middle of this thing. So yeah, I don't know if I'm possible across. We need to incorporate art work. It's going to help our children a lot. Mathematics.
Thank
Okay,
you very
Mommy
much.
Afolabi. Mommy Afolabi, you can go ahead, man. Because of our time, Funmi will be stepping away in 5 minutes. Over to you.
You know, as what I just have to say is that it's not only the kids it's affecting, even me as a parent is affecting me, because most time I go to bed at night, I go with my phone and I'm on bed, maybe for 2 hours, I'll be on the phone thinking I want to go and sleep. What I do majorly with my kids is sometimes I just hide all the parts. When I hide it, they don't have option. They will not even look for it. You will see that they are playing without it. That's what I've noticed. So sometimes I just deliberately remove the parts from where they can see them. That's what I do. God will help us.
Amen.
Thank you so much.
Amen.
For myself now, I know I need to really work on myself. That's what I know. Thank you.
God would help us. God would so help us. Amen. And unfortunately, the society where a community raise kids, we're losing that, or we've lost that now. You know, in the past, children are allowed to go out and play, but you allow them to go out and I would personally say, boys, go around the neighborhood, go and play, get their scooters, go and play, come back at so time, give them a time for them to come back. If they don't come back 2-3 minutes past the time, I'm thinking, oh, where are the boys? You know, because I have it's a challenge that we have, but God will help us to help them, you know. All right. Any more questions? Any more questions?
The question I want to ask is, because for some people, you know, some people can really reverse, you know, from U-turn, you know, from this stage, but some it has become, they will need a therapist, honestly. In terms of using phone, I think it's starting from me, and it's not my fault anyway. I'm sorry. I want to be responsible, but me dealing with groups, I have different groups apart from our GCMI, you know, messages from different corner, different people, you know, all these things has eaten me up. There's a time I have to leave for a month, I told you, but because it's really affecting me mentally. So yeah, so I want to just advise our parents, if you are struggling, you know, with this, you can speak with someone. You know, we all know how this is affecting us. You know, some is just, we might think it's just your phone, like, is it just phone? It's more, it's more than that. It's affecting a lot of us. You know, we can't stop it. We can't, well, like Mommy has said, because the next section will be next month, 3rd week, Saturday next month, 12th at this time. So we can just put ourselves to test, you know, and see if we're able to work on it. Because now we are aware now, but we need to intentionally work on these things. And if we find ourselves struggling, then we can, if we need to speak with a counselor or therapist or someone to help us through the journey, please just let us know so that we can, you know, we have people. Our mommy also help is a therapist as well, you know, just to help us. It could be, in our own case, it could be concentration, it could be distraction or something. So I pray may God help us.
Amen. Amen. Yeah, if you do need support, please, and we can be our brother's keeper. This is a beautiful forum. GCMMI parents, you can support each other, be our brother's keeper. What are you doing? How are you supporting your children? What is it that you're doing? I have a couple of friends. We have kids around the same age, and it's really, really helpful. We're in different cities, but we do check in from time to time. Your children in high school, how are they doing? What are the things they do? What are they finding? How do they spend their time? That can also help. If your children are in school, there are other moms that you might meet when you take your children to school. These are things that we, build our community around yourself. So be intentional around the community. I try to do that. I recognize a couple of parents who I speak to, and they are Christians in my kids' school. So I intentionally build that relationship around them. They may not want to, but because they have something that I need, I will I will
Definitely.
speak with them, invite them to my home. Come and have some tea. Come and have that, because I know my children are your children. So it's important that I find a way to influence the parents positively. If my children are very close friends to children who are constantly on their device, I may look like a bad mother to my children for not allowing them to go on devices because their friends do that. And that makes it even more difficult if I'm trying to create a behavior in my children and the people that they're surrounded with are not like that. So how can I influence that? By influencing parents. So there's a way around it. Oh, take the kids out if you can, depending on your work schedule. Just, God would help us to be creative, I think, with our thinking and with the way we parent. Parenting is a lot harder than it used to, and there's no doubt about that. It's a lot harder, but with God, all things are possible. Yes, use the forum. All right, I'm going to go. It's been lovely, meeting with everyone. Thank you so much for spending your Saturday, with me. I don't take you for granted because I know how busy Saturdays can be. So thank you so much.
So thank you, Ma, and we look forward to meet you again, Ma, next month. So parents, please don't forget, I'm going to send this video to all our parents, especially parents who miss this session. Is really important. So parents, please, let's work. We had our to do now, parents. So as we are going, so next month we want to call, we ask you, that's the first thing, what were you able to do, rightly, looking at this, is the EID issue. So parents, please, let's work on this. Let's help our children. Is really important. And like you said, I want to emphasize on that one. Also our parents say they don't talk to people. I spoke with some parents, say, I don't, maybe no parents. God has not created us an island. I know people are bad out there, but unfortunately we were not created to be alone. So as a parent, we should be open-minded sometimes. We meet bad people, obviously, and that's why we have that emotional intelligence courses that we can join. We produce that as well. We rolled that out just to master people's intelligence, to be able to, work with them, and especially children in our children's life is really important. All our friends should be in GCMI by now, because if we are teaching them the way of the Lord and they are meeting these people out there who will corrupt them, parents is not going to be helpful, So please, parents, let's mingle with other parents. Let's add them to forums like this. Let them come and learn as well. And I pray may God help us. We love you so much, our parents. And we say God bless you. More from you are the host, you can hear the session. So parents, any question, if you need further help, let us know. I can give you from your contact. If you want to have one-on-one with her, yeah, she's a certified psychologist and therapist in the UK. So she'll be able to help you, She might ask you for a token. But mommy, please, if they're from GCMI, Joe, let me know the amount. I'll pay some of it. Thank you, ma. So we can end the session. I think she's gone. So mommy,